It's raining. Can you guys hear that? I'm gonna try to edit that out. Hello everybody, welcome to my first ever video here on my Chasing Tails channel. My name is Gina. I live between my van, Hot Chocolate, and a tiny home on the east coast of Canada. I'm a professional photographer, a hiking and outdoor enthusiast, aspiring circus artist, and a music producer in training. And now a YouTuber! I have way too many hobbies! Maybe that is a thing that I should talk about on this channel. Wow. But on this channel, what I really am going to be talking about is tiny living and van living, travel, nature, hiking and camping, food and plant-based eating, lifestyle, and a little bit of minimalism and capsule wardrobes as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to get to know you. So at the risk of sounding like I'm complaining about tiny living in my very first video about tiny living, here are 5 things I wish I knew before going tiny. I realized after filming the talking portion that I probably should make an actual explicit statement that I really love tiny living. None of these things are complaints. They're simply lessons that I've learned through the course of actually moving into a tiny space that I thought might be useful for somebody else to hear before they make the transition. Okay, let's get to it. Also, I'm not going to talk about any of the legalities or insurance or anything like that in this video. I'm just going to talk about the actual physical and emotional challenges of living in a smaller space. So, let's jump right into it. Number 1, you will not be outside all of the time, so you better make your indoor space comfortable to live in. I actually have a lot to say on this subject, and I have a whole video planned just around this topic. But basically, a lot of people choose the tiny life or van life because they think that it will make them get outside more. The truth is that the house that you live in won't actually affect that all too much. It's really more about the type of lifestyle that you choose to lead. So if you want to be more outdoorsy when you move into a tiny home, you really need to practice this as part of your lifestyle. It doesn't come automatically with the change in scenery. That being said, obviously if you move into a more rural area, it will be easier to get outside into nature, but in general, the actual act of going outside doesn't happen like that. So on the other side of the same coin, that also means that you don't need the change in scenery, you don't need to move in order to be more outdoorsy in your everyday life. It is all about you and not really that much about the house. Number 2, you have more stuff than you think you do. So be really brutal with your downsizing. You have more stuff than you think you do, but you also need less stuff than you think you need. I think this is why tiny living and minimalism often go hand in hand. You inherently can't store as many items in a smaller space, and so I think a lot of people adopt a minimalism lifestyle sort of out of necessity in this case. Now, I'm not a minimalist. I might be minimal-ish. I'm aiming to sort of embrace that idea more as I create these videos so that we can go through that transition together. And along the same point, every damn piece of furniture in your house better double as storage. Otherwise, your house is going to end up looking really messy and really cluttered. You are going to want as many secret storage solutions as you can possibly jam into your house. Number 3, be prepared to clean. Like every single day. A tiny house doesn't take long to clean, maybe 20 minutes top to bottom, but it also doesn't take long to get dirty. I live with 1 cat, 1 dog, and 1 man. It gets dirty and it gets smelly. Cooking smells delicious, but when I fry onions, I open every single window in my house. If my dog is wet, my whole house smells like wet dog for hours, for days, for years. It's been 84 years. And in general, you should change your bedding fairly often. In a tiny home, this is even more frequent. It takes up a huge percentage of your real estate, so having dingy smelling bed sheets is a surefire way to have your whole house smell funky. Number 4 sort of ties in with the last one. Windows are so important in a tiny space. Not only for natural light, but also for fresh air. So just the same as it gets dingy in your house really easily, it can also get humid inside of your house really easily. You need to have like a cross breeze going to keep the air in your house fresh. Now I don't have any sort of like fan or AC in either my house or my van, so the windows are really important, and it can be a little bit tougher in the winter because of that. You might notice condensation on the windows, or things might be a little bit damp to the touch, and left unattended, that stuff can turn into mold really easily. So I highly recommend getting an AC or an air exchanger or a fan or something in your small space if you can manage it. Now to be fair, this might be kind of exaggerated because I live really close to the ocean, so it's always pretty humid here in general, but that is a thing that I'm glad worked out in my house in the long run. We ended up replacing one of our doors with a window, and anyways, the cross breeze is awesome. Number 5 is make sure you have enough space to do the activities that you love. That sounds really weirdly obvious, but I wish I had thought about this more while we were laying out our final design for our house. I would love to have more space to do at-home workouts. Right now I can lay down on a yoga mat, but I don't have a ton of room to put my arms up beside me. Again, especially if my partner is sitting at his desk doing work and my dog is laying on his bed chewing on a bone and my cat is laying on the mat over here. So if you like to sew, make sure you have enough table space to sew. If you like to dance, make sure you have enough floor space that you can move around. And since you guys have stuck it out this long through the video, I'm gonna give you one more bonus tip. Now this tip is if you decide to live in a tiny home with a partner. It can feel like you are around your partner an ungodly amount when you're constantly within 10 feet of each other, but that doesn't substitute for actually doing activities together. It's obvious that you're gonna wanna have space where you each can hang out separately. Alone time is so important, but also weirdly less obvious, making time to really spend time with your partner is more important than ever when you live in a small space. So I hope any of these could give anyone some insight for somebody considering making the switch to a tiny life. Let me know in the comments below if you have your own tiny dreams and what thoughts, problems, or questions have come up for you. And let me know what topics you'd like to see me cover on my channel. It's really a little open-ended at this point of where I can take it, so I'm always looking for feedback from you guys to make sure that we can build a good relationship and I can maybe give you guys something useful. Thank you guys again so much for tuning into my first video here on the Chasing Tails channel. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to make 3 of my favorite go-to meals. Each one is super easy, vegan, and healthy enough. Catch you next time.